Hello friends, my name is Shay and welcome back to my channel. This is my third wrap up for the year of 2021. This is going to be the first half of February. I've read a lot of manga for other dedicated videos, so we're going to talk about the manga quickly because I'll only have 2 volumes that I'll need to talk about directly in this video, and then we will dive into the books. So let's go ahead and dive right in because this is probably going to be a fairly long one. So first things first, I did another NetGalley manga reading vlog where I read 10 volumes of manga, and I'm going to refer you to that video to check those out. And then the Manga Love Readathon happened, and I read 25 volumes of manga for that particular video. So again, I will leave that linked in the corner for you. I did end up finishing some series and starting some new ones in that one. So if you want to know what I read for that video, that vlog is also linked. Both will be in the corner for you. So I read volume 2s on a couple of digital first series that I had been loving. So the first one is I'll Win You Over Senpai. And this one is a really, really cute series about a girl who's a year younger than this guy. He's the class hunk. No one's really told her no when she's asked them out, except him. And so she is bound and determined to get him to say yes. And they are starting to form an actual budding, like, relationship. And it's actually really, really cute. She's helping him confront feelings for someone that he used to have feelings for, but, you know, he's, like, completely enamored with this new girl who's helping him discover that and stuff. It's really cute. I really like this series, and I highly recommend checking this one out. The other one that I need to talk about in this video is Let's Kiss in Secret Tomorrow. So this one is kind of like, he was the nerd and she was the popular girl in junior high. And now that they've hit high school, their roles have kind of swapped because she was like embarrassed or like afraid of all the backlash now that he's all hot and not a nerd anymore. And so it's really interesting to watch how things play out. And in this one, I feel like she's finally coming around to the fact that she just needs to own up to who she is to him. And he continues to like stand up for her. It's cute. I really like it. And I cannot wait to read more of that series. All right. That's it for the manga I'm going to talk about in this video because, like I said, I have 35 other volumes that I've read, but again, those are linked in the corner. So let's dive into the books. I'm going to talk about the ones that I've read digitally but don't have physicals of, and then we'll talk about all the physical things. So the first one on the list is The Bachelor Cowboy. This one was an arc that I didn't get to quite on time. I got to this one a little bit late, but again, it was just kind of an average cowboy love story. It was sweet. I still really liked it. I gave it a 3.5. But it didn't do anything like out of the ordinary for me. So if you're just looking for a really cute, sweet cowboy romance, I recommend picking this one up. The next one on this list is Much Ado About You by Samantha Young. Now, this one was a bit disappointing to me. In concept, it looked fantastic. But I ended up giving this 3 stars. I think what I'm learning about Samantha Young is her characters are very 2D to me. Like, neither character had a ton of depth. Neither of them really... You know, this is the traveling across the world to discover yourself trope. The only thing that put a fun twist on it is that she's staying and running a bookstore. And obviously she ends up buying the bookstore and staying. Like, that's pretty easy to get from the concept of the story. I did like the love interest, but that's kind of it. And otherwise it was just kind of meh. It was just kind of there. And I don't think I'm going to pick up any more Samantha Young. I DNF'd the first one because the hero in that one acted a lot like my ex-husband and I just couldn't deal. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Samantha Young. So I don't think I'll pick up any more Samantha Young. The next one is Dare to Be a Duchess. I really, again, loved this in concept, but the execution fell a little flat for me. I felt like it was so singularly focused on sex that it took this story that could have been really great and layered and just piled it in a bunch of sexual crap that didn't need to be there. So again, I was disappointed in this one, but I I'm definitely going to try other books by this author. I think just this particular one didn't land quite right for me. Now we have Back in the Texan's Bed by Naima Simone. Again, another steamy, like, cattle rancher kind of thing. And I believe their companies are collaborating and they end up on an assignment together, if I'm remembering my details correctly. But again, it's short, it's fun. I had a great time with it. Solid 4 stars on that one. I've got Beard in Mind by Penny Reed. I've just been checking these out from the library on the audiobook. And this one was fine. Solid 4. I don't know if I'm going to pick up any more in the Winston Brothers series, though there's one story left that I'm really kind of interested in, so I might check that one out. I don't know. We'll see. But they're fun. They're fine. And then the other one is I got an audiobook arc of My Contrary Mary by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Joey Meadows. They're doing a Mary's series now, and I am here for it. It's going to be amazing. There's lots of Marys that they can play with, so I'm really interested to see what they do with them. In My Contrary Mary, we're dealing with Mary, Queen of Scots, who we met in My Lady Jane, which is the first book that they did, and so it's really fun to get her story, and I really like how this one played out a lot. As a story, I'm giving it a solid, like, 4.5. The audiobook narration was not my favorite. All the voices sounded too similar. So when all the Marys were talking, it was hard to keep track of which Mary was talking. So I don't know if this will be the final audiobook narration, as the book doesn't come out till this summer. But the narrator choice for the one that I listened to was not my favorite. So as it comes closer to time, I will check and see if the narrator is the same, and I'll let you guys know. All right, after that, everything else is physical, so let's dive in. So first up, we have Just a Heartbeat Away by Cara Bastone. This is the first book in the Forever Yours series by Cara Bastone. I have loved everything. I read 2, and then I read 3, and then I came back and read this one. So I've already been familiar with these these with Sebastian and Via for a long time. Sebastian's a single father. He's a widower, and Via was teaching his son, like, in pre-K, I think. And she sees the dad falling apart, sees signs of neglect in his son, Maddie. And so, like, she kind of helps give him a wake-up call. He comes around. He's a fantastic dad. And they get reacquainted a couple of years later, as she now works at the school where he lives and where he works part-time as, like, a lunchroom aide. So he gets time with Maddie, and it's really cute. I really, really love this book. I love this author. I love this series. I have yet to give a Cara Bastone less than 5 stars. Like, I have loved everyone. They are fantastic. I really love her writing. Call Me Maybe has been one of my favorite reads of the year as well. So I highly recommend checking out Cara Bastone. This Forever Yours series is really fantastic as well. Next up, we have Reckless Road by Christine Feehan. Y'all knew a Feehan was going to be on this list. So when it comes to this one, we have Player's story. Player has, like, a mental kind of power where he can create illusions. And so I was always curious about his power. I do like his partner, like the woman that he ends up with named Zaya. She's very Indian in her roots, and they bring that into the story in a way that helps Player and his mental thing. So I really like how that played out. Outside of that, I did have a slightly harder time connecting with this one than I have with the previous Torpedo Ink novels. So this one I'm giving a 4-star. The others have been a little bit higher. Well, I guess some of the early ones just got 4s as well. But the last couple I've gotten really high ratings for, and this one is just going to get a 4 just because I had a slightly harder time connecting to the overall story going on in this one. And I do like Zaya and what she adds to the group, and now she works at the grocery store that they own and stuff, and so she's, like, been indoctrinated into them before, like, her and Player are official and stuff. It's really cute. I do enjoy it, and I know Feehan is not for everybody, and that's always okay. Like, no one's ever gonna hurt my feelings because they didn't like a Christine Feehan book. I know that her writing style is very, like, a certain way, and a lot of people don't get along with it, and that's fine. I just really enjoy her stuff. And that's probably like my weird taste. Everything else most people align with. But when it comes to Christine Feehan, most people are like, I don't like it. But I'm like, I love it. I'm trash for it. Like, just know that. Okay. All right, next up we have Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins. This was so good. This does tie into the Levesque series. And in this one, we're following Spring Lee. She is a woman outside of her time. She wears pants. She owns her own ranch. She is a baddie, and I love her. I love her so much. And then what happens is we have Garrett, who's coming to do an article on her brother, who is a man of color, who's a doctor, and that's like very unheard of at the time. And he's basically like freezing, and Spring finds him and she brings him back and like helps warm him up and get him situated. And so he becomes enamored with this strong, independent woman who takes care of him, and it's amazing. I love this so much. It is so good. Spring is such an amazing female character who is strong and beautiful, yet vulnerable. I love that. Beverly Jenkins has this great balance of strong women who are vulnerable for like their partners. And it's so good. Like, if you have not read Beverly Jenkins, like, what are you doing with your life? I was that person not that long ago, so I can't judge you too harshly. I'll be honest with myself. But I have to just tell you guys that stop doing yourself a disservice like I was and go read Queen Bev, because Queen Bev is queen for a reason. And then next we have The Duke Heist by Erica Ridley. I was kindly sent this by the author. And in this one, we have Chloe and Lawrence. Chloe, her father's like dying wish was to get this painting back, and it's currently owned by Lawrence, and he doesn't understand its like value. And so he's going to give it to this, you know, fiance of his. Basically, he's just marrying because he has to marry, kind of a situation. And she goes, she steals the painting, steals his carriage, but he happens to be inside. So she's ended up kidnapping him throughout the process, and things start to bud and blossom between the two of them. This was really fun. I also really loved Chloe's family dynamic. That was like a huge part of the story, and I really loved that. So if you're looking for something with a good family dynamic as well as a romance, definitely try this one. I had a really great time with it, and I would recommend trying out Erica Ridley. Recently, The Governor's Gambit, which I think is the first book in this series, was on sale on Kindle. So when I link the series below, I always try to link all the titles below. You can definitely check that out. Next, I finally got around to finishing Crossroads of Twilight by Robert Jordan. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. This is quote unquote part of the slog. But in this one, like, we have huge character progression for each of our characters. Where this one ends, holy crap for crap. I'm going to be picking up Knife of Dreams, which is book 11, very soon. And yes, I recommend reading the series, and don't listen to everybody when they say there's a slog, because it really hasn't felt like a slog to me. I think just the people who are waiting for the long times between the publication dates more feel that way. And this is getting close to the end of Robert Jordan's life, so the writing is slightly more meandering, I will give you that, but it's still really good. Next, I finally ended up finishing You're a Badass Every Day. I've just been reading little bits in this every day for the last year, and it's fun. It's a really nice way to empower yourself if you need that constant reaffirmation. So again, it's a really great, just kind of on-hand book just to pick up when you're feeling down and help empower yourself. So I really like the Badass series. I got the newest book recently as well, so I like them. So I have to say thank you to Tiffany Myers. She gifted me Blind Date with a Book Boyfriend. I also have to thank Izzy over at Happy for Now, because she talked so highly about this novella that I really wanted to pick it up. I ended up adding it to my wish list. Tiffany got it for me. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. Because this was 5 stars. I loved everything about this. This was so fun. Jordan flies into LA to interview at a job, and she comes across Mike at the Ripped Bodice, which is a romance-centered bookstore in LA, if you're unfamiliar. And so this is about Jordan and Mike having kind of a whirlwind romance. I would say this is like a modern Roman holiday with a happy ending. That's kind of the easiest way to describe this novella. It's fantastic. I really, really loved this. There ends up being a power dynamic in play here, but I do really love this. It's so good. It's so fun. Highly recommend checking it out. Next, I have An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. I buddy read this with my girl Lindsay over at Lindsay Tut. She gifted it to me as well. And this is the first book in her Civil War-centered series. In this one, we have Elle and Malcolm. They're both spies, and spies living in the South trying to get information for the North on the war. And they end up having this kind of like clandestine romance behind the scenes. It's so good. It's so cute. Malcolm is this like Irish or Scottish man living there now, and he's like made money kind of thing. And then she is posing as a slave even though she's free, and it's so good. Oh my gosh, this was so good. I ended up really enjoying this. Solid 4 stars. Definitely going to be picking up more in this series. And then last but not least is First Comes Like by Alicia Rai. Now with this one, a lot of people expect like this big plot to it, but there really wasn't. This was a much quieter plot, a little more slice of lifey, them just kind of getting to know one another. There's no big conflict or problem. It's just a quieter, softer romance. And that's really nice sometimes. I know a lot of people like kind of poo-pooed on this one because of that, but I really enjoy the softer, quieter romances sometimes. I don't need big dramatic things to happen in my romance to enjoy it. So this is definitely that. We have Jaya, who is a beauty YouTuber, and she's been getting messages from this guy, or who she thinks is this guy, and he is the son of a powerful Bollywood family, so she knows his family and knows him because of that, and he's handsome. So she goes up to him at a party, and he has no idea who she is because clearly she's been catfished by somebody using his name, and it's really sweet. It was a lot of fun. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I do think my favorite in the series is Girl Gone Viral, which is the previous book, but that has a trope that I really love in it, which is a bodyguard romance trope. And again, this was really fun. I really enjoyed the whole trilogy of these, and it's just a good time. So if you're looking for an author of color to read from, Alicia Rai is a great one to pick up. All right, friends, that is everything for this wrap up. Again, make sure you check the cards and check out the other videos where I discuss the manga, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.